Welcome to the My Blockchain Island podcast. For all the latest info on DLT, blockchain, startups, Malta, and beyond. Here's your hostess, Carla, Maree.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to our very first episode of My Blockchain Island. Today's guest is Anthony David Gatt from Malta Enterprise. But before we get started, let's hear a special word from our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Talent XD. Talent XD is a boutique recruitment and talent advisory house specialized in iGaming, esports, financial services, and blockchain. For more information, check out talentxd.com. That's talentxd.com. Welcome, David, and thank you for being our first official guest on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, and good luck for this new project.
Thank you. Okay, so a lot of our listeners are not from Malta, so let's kick off with the obvious question. What's Malta Enterprise?
So, it is a government corporation, and our main role, I would say there's two main roles. The first role is to help companies that are already established here in Malta, be them foreign-owned or owned by Maltese individuals. And secondly, we are, especially the team that I'm part of, we go around the world and advertise Malta as a business location and also host incoming delegations and show them the elements that we believe would be core to their final decision as to relocate, expand, or have a new endeavor in Malta.
Awesome. So you're like the welcome party to the Maltese island.
I would say so.
Great.
Yes.
Great. So I hear that there's a number of benefits that Malta Enterprise are offering specifically for blockchain. Now, I know you offer benefits to companies in all sectors, just to be fair, but this is a podcast focused on blockchain. So let's just try and stick to the nuts and bolts of what we're talking about today. Can you elaborate a little bit into the tax credits, the cash injections? I mean, there's lots of things that people can take advantage of, local and foreign once again. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes, sure. Basically, apart from the assistance, I'd like to start from this part. Apart from the actual incentives, fiscal or financial, that we'll have time to discuss, there's another element that is as important, I would say. Maybe your listeners from around the world might have heard about Malta. Malta is a blockchain island, and the key advantages that are being pushed forward, which are the three pieces of legislation, thus the legal certainty and the knowledge that you are going to a jurisdiction that is embracing of blockchain as a technology.
Absolutely.
However, when one comes to Malta in order to see how the reality on the ground is, they might feel a bit maybe lost, or they won't know exactly who they should go to, or they might know one link that they would have to the island, and they start from there. What we do as Malta Enterprise is try as much as we can to give an overarching feel of the jurisdiction, the country, the ecosystem, the people, the companies that are part of the building blocks of this new ecosystem. The same happens with different industries, but this is very important. What's happening in blockchain? It's a path to discovery amongst us all, and we'd like to, as much as we can, simplify the process of the, let's say, lending in Malta of certain companies.
Absolutely.
That are
I mean,
here.
it's a great point that you're embarking on there, because I think it's not just myself in the local business sphere, but all of the people I know are saying that our inboxes and LinkedIn is completely bombarded from requests from people trying to learn more, get reference to people that they could potentially speak to within the local ecosystem. And I think that the strength of Malta Enterprise here is that you are a neutral body. And that enables you to be very objective in terms of how you speak, how you represent the country, and the people, the way you push companies to get them on the ground.
Our main remit is to attract the right kind of companies to the country, because we know that Malta is what it is. It's a small geographical space, and one of our two key pillars, I would say, is our reputation. And if we do not safeguard our reputation in everything we do, especially us being a government corporation, then we would be hindering ourselves and decreasing the strength of one of our main pillars. So yes, we are getting a lot of demand for feedback, and yes, our LinkedIn inboxes are full with interest and with questions, and we are in a privileged position as well to be able to give an opportunity for all the companies here in Malta that are already starting to form the ecosystem, access to these individuals as well coming from abroad. Obviously, we try and tend to foster link-ups between companies that we believe have a good frame of mind, they're coming from a good place, their business plan is clear, their background is also checked in our processes. Then when we come to the actual incentives that we administer, we obviously have a strong due diligence procedure per se. However, there is the role of fostering these links, and we are privileged and in a premium position, let's say, to be able to do these link-ups.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful and very helpful. Very, very helpful. So when you jump there on to administer, I mean, I guess that companies coming to Malta Enterprise can come for a specific purpose other than just, wanting to know a little bit more about the island. And that jumps into what I mentioned earlier, being, incentives and insights about how the, corporate setups work in Malta, et cetera, et cetera. So where should we start? Because there's a lot going on that's like I was really happy when I read the list of all the benefits that, I mean, it's nice to know that we're, open-minded from a regulatory perspective, but then to know that there's further incentives to help you get your footing right. That kind of makes me proud as a Malteser. I call myself a Malteser a lot, so somebody's going to buy me a Malteser cake one day.
Good, the Maltesers. But we like to say this particular narrative when we start approaching incentives, that we're there for the long haul. We're not just there for the start or for your landing or for your startup phase, but we're there with you throughout. If you tick our boxes, we'll tick yours, in the sense that there is assistance, loans, grants, and assistance to help with individual people within your company, to fund knowledge transfer, to fund other elements of the running of the startup or company. But as you go along and as the relationship grows, there will be more possible help that we will give you. But to start off now in real terms, if you're a startup and you're looking to create your own, let's say, blockchain-enabled transformative or disruptive tool, we can assist you with what we call startup finance.
Okay.
And this is one of the most viable tools that we have. Startup finance is a loan. This is a loan repayable over a period of 10 years with an interest rate of 3%. And we can help you with it via different formats. So I like to paint it as a visual picture of one incentive with 3 pillars laying under it.
Mm-hmm.
The first one would be tied to the fact that we can help you with matching paid up share capital increase. So you vouch to put extra funds into your company to a ceiling up to a maximum of 200,000 euros,
Mm-hmm.
and you apply with us in order for Malta Enterprise to match that maximum of 200,000 euros.
Okay. So the loan structure is there for up to 200,000 euros.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
That's one pillar of this.
And what stage startups would you say would be looking at that? Do you think they're kind of like already in production, 1 or 2 people with an idea? What type of stage startups do you think?
I would submit that it would be a number of people with an idea that has been already substantially tested with potential interest from other investors, or that already have a business plan of where they want to take this entity, this corporation, this whatever business
So
idea.
comprehensive business plan, ready to plug and play.
The business plan needs to be there.
Yeah.
That will be one of the requirements that Malta Enterprise will ask for. It will be either a tangible business plan or a white paper or any format that makes sense. However, there needs to be the financials, the vision, the forecast for 2-3 years, employment predictions. So the whole business plan.
Right.
It might be a standalone business plan or it can be explained inside our application forms.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be an actual business plan per se, but obviously it will help.
Cool.
If I may continue with the 3 different pillars within this startup finance
Absolutely.
Proposition.
Yeah, we want more money.
Yeah. So that's the first one that I mentioned. The first pillar is the matching of the paid up share capital.
Great.
If we move on to the second pillar, which is again capped at 200,000 euros,
Okay.
another 200,000 euros.
On top of the initial pillar.
Yes,
Okay.
obviously if the application is successful, I'm saying.
Okay.
This second 200,000 euros can be redeemed as a refund on costs for fixed assets.
Okay.
So fixed assets costs. Again, to a maximum of 200,000 euros.
Okay.
The third pillar would be touching on to crowdfunding.
Okay.
Now, as we obviously all know, when it comes to ICOs, token sales, or any derivative or similar action, the amounts that can be raised through those exercises are quite substantial if you're
Of course.
successful. However, if you're at a pre-ICO stage or at an earlier stage, the startup finance package is quite interesting to you. I'm saying this to come to the third pillar, which is the crowdfunding pillar,
Okay.
which has a ceiling of 100,000 euros, which is not substantial when you compare it to ICOs, etc. That's why I said what I said.
Yeah.
And it's broken down with 25,000 euros rounds. So we will be able to match 25,000 euros per round achieved to crowdfunding with our own finances.
Okay.
So 25, 25, 25, and 25 up to 100. Now, all this might seem very, very complex and...
No, it's not. It's not at all. It shows an incentive to grow alongside of the company and help them. Almost the last stage is almost like a vote of confidence from your audience, right? Which is very much about what white papers and token sales were probably more predominantly about in their early days. So I think it's great. And I mean, that's like 500,000 just there, waiting to be taken up for the right people with the right purposes.
Exactly. And I must submit that it won't be easy peasy in the sense that Malta Enterprise...
Come on, you're not just going to give me 500,000?
Obviously not. You
You can't
deserve it,
stay
right?
here.
You need to
Off you
deserve
go.
it. And obviously the finances are what they are. They are finite. They're limited in a sense. And we want to assist the best kind of companies, the best kind of propositions for the country itself as well.
Okay.
And I should also explain how the process of application happens in just a few words.
Yeah.
So obviously you'll be able to read more about these incentives on our website as well.
And we'll include links to the show notes and some summaries of what we're saying for sure.
And basically you fill in an application form which has a narrative, a business plan, as I have explained before, and also a number of annexes, financial projections.
Great.
We will assist you towards filling your application successfully. Once that is done, you will send us the application form and our internal process kicks in. A process which is, I would say, quite swift. We will be able to give you a yes or a no within 8 weeks.
Wonderful.
From your submission. Sometimes we manage to do it before, but that's the parameter given that we stipulate with ourselves. And an internal process will kick in. You might even be called to make a bit of a pitch.
Okay.
And which I believe is very beneficial for the cause of the company itself.
So that was going to lead, actually, what you're saying now is leading into my question. Do the startups have to be in Malta whilst doing the application process?
They do not have to be in Malta. However, in this particular incentive, Startup Finance, they will have to have physical FaceTime with a pre-selection board.
Okay, so but if I was doing my first preliminary documentation, I could do that online and then potentially come out upon further discussion,
Exactly.
right?
However, we do encourage for them to come to Malta.
I know. I mean, everybody should come here. It's amazing, and it's really hot and lots of beaches and sun, which we're not in right now, if you're wondering. But just to kind of give a little bit of an understanding to like the stages and the FaceTime required, because lots of people are, you know, in the US and in Asia, so we need to kind of consider how many people can jump across the pond, how many times. So
Agreed. But obviously, the point of them coming to Malta is not just to increase our GDP because of their spend in Malta. However, it's because we do believe that once some of your listeners would come to Malta, they will be much more convinced about the proposition that the country as a whole has.
Yeah.
Not possibly also through their trip here, they might be invigorated to bring a stronger part of their business here. So not only the ICO part or the financing part, but also the physical structure, the physical everyday creation, the digital innovation. That's, after all, what Malta Enterprise is wants to bring.
Mm-hmm.
We want to bring activity on the ground, smarts happening here, innovation happening in Malta, because we believe, now I'm going into my own little narrative here about Malta Enterprise, but we truly believe that by bringing these actual tangibles on the ground, we'll be achieving the best results for the Maltese economy.
I'm going to buy you a Malta Enterprise flag, and you can wear it as a cape.
I'll do that. Whatever needs.
Whatever's needed. Awesome. Okay, so we've covered the loans, but there are other benefits, right?
Yes.
So what else would be of interest for blockchain startups?
So, what we also have, which is of benefit, is our taxation regime.
Okay.
Here in the country.
Tax.
And now I'll touch upon tax. For anyone who wants to bring their company to Malta, there is one corporate tax band which is riding on to 35%.
Mm-hmm.
However, for non-resident shareholders, there's an opportunity for them to redeem a refund of that 35% upon distribution of dividends, rendering the effective tax paid by the individuals down to 5%.
Yeah.
This is a reality that you can take advantage of, which is above board, completely sanctioned by the OECD and by the European Commission.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of our extras, I would say.
And it's not only subject to the blockchain
No.
community. This has been around for a while, yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
However, for companies who are bringing their business here, there's an added extra on this taxation reality and advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you apply through this incentive that I'm going to explain next, investment aid tax credits, what we have is a further incentive on what the jurisdiction gives you, right? Therefore, if you are a company that employs less than 50 people and you want to make use of this tax credit possibility, you will be able to redeem up to 30% of your capital expenditure for your company.
Wonderful.
So those 30% will result into further tax credits that you can use to reduce the 5% onto a zero reality for a period of time.
Okay.
If you are a company that employs between 50 employees and 250 employees, and there are also parameters on turnover, but these are elements which can be found on our website, you'll be able to be eligible for 20% of your capital expenditure. So between 0 and 50, 30% aid intensity, between 50 and 250, an aid intensity of 20%. And if you're a larger company employing 250 over, then there's a 10% capital expenditure eligibility.
That's wonderful.
So that's the the tax benefit. And to be honest with you and with our listeners, these two elements, the loan and the tax credits, are the two main tools that we use or we discuss with incoming startups.
Great. Good to know.
So these are your starting point.
Mm-hmm. Sounds great. What about employees? Because we've talked about the company positioning. We've talked about tax benefits for the companies per se, but there should be some tax benefits also for potential employees coming from abroad, right?
Exactly. So we all know if you're a company that have started your plan already somewhere in the world and you have a number of key people, you would like to bring them and have them with you. And you want to maybe convince them to relocate to Malta with you. And you need to offer some things you can offer directly yourself through shareholding and other incentives. But obviously, if there is a personal taxation reality in the jurisdiction that you're going to move to, which is beneficial, then it will be the cherry on the cake.
Yeah, exactly. It opens the door a bit wider.
And that's what we have here. And also, if you're already are established in Malta or you come from abroad to Malta and you want to bring some talent from other parts of the world, this is for you as well.
Okay.
There is a reality that people earning more than 45,000 euros yearly, annually, will be able to apply for a personal tax bracket of just 15%.
Okay. So they apply or their company applies?
It would be the individual who applies.
The individual applies. Okay.
However, it's a package that, anyone who comes to Malta can offer to certain individuals within the company that earn X amount of...
And this is blockchain specific?
No, this is not blockchain specific.
Mm-hmm.
This applies for a number of industries, especially in the ICT sphere.
Okay.
There are other similar incentives across the Maltese economy.
Okay.
But this particular one is administered by Malta Enterprise.
Wonderful.
And applicants or proponents that work in the blockchain sphere can apply for.
Is it a specific skill set that's required?
It's normally seen that with that particular wage and that parameter, one would be targeting highly qualified individuals.
Okay.
In different strands. We know that in the blockchain sphere, you have different kind of skill sets that you need.
Absolutely.
Mathematicians, software developers,
Yeah.
people in management. So, but that's the reality. Highly qualified individuals.
Okay, great. So we'll definitely put more links in the show notes about this one, so you're not bombarded by everybody. Because I think we've opened up the airwaves for bombardment on tax benefits now.
I just want to clarify that tax benefits is the cherry on the cake for the Maltese jurisdiction. I would say I'm repeating myself. However, this is it. That's why I started from the beginning about our other incentive, which is being flexible, nimble, and very quick to link up individuals with the right kind of collaborators.
Okay, good.
The fact that we're small and we're quick to act, which is also epitomized by our 3 pieces of legislation that many of your listeners will know about.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're nimble and we're quick to act, for myself and for many others who know the Maltese reality closer to home, would say that is our first big advantage, and our tax reality would be an added plus.
Absolutely. Lots of my international contacts have actually been really pleasantly surprised as to how quick everything has been turned over. And this is just one case scenario, one government entity that's really pushing forward in that space as well. So hats off to you and your team for enabling this and making this publicly available. Okay, I think the last kind of area that we were going to jump into was the R&D related incentives. So can you tell us a little bit about what's happening or what's available for people who want to do a bit of research?
So this will be explained but much better with our links in order to give percentages and what can qualify and not qualify.
Sure.
However, the first point to make about the R&D assistance is that it needs to qualify as real R&D, which is seen to be.
I have an idea. Can I apply?
You can apply, but you might not get what you are looking for.
Come on.
We need to select and pre-select, obviously. But you can always apply.
Thank you.
But in order to answer this side note as well, there is a bit of a test that you can do before supplying all the information and going into a lot of paperwork. You can fill in a 2-pager, which we can look into and say, look, we believe that this is tangible R&D. Please continue with your application forms because we believe that you might be eligible.
Wonderful.
So if you're not, then you do not have to get into all the hassle of filling a number of documents and waste time that you should invest in something else.
Absolutely.
And then there's a different tranches of assistance that we can give you, either on the aiding you with the individuals doing the research and their wages, or the project per se. There are a number of helps that we can assist with, even in certain cases, let's say a posteriori, after you have done the actual R&D and you say, but no, I have done the R&D. Will Malta Enterprise actually help me while I already done the R&D? And there are ways and means how to assist you there as well.
Wonderful. Okay, is there anything else that's happening within Malta Enterprise that might be of interest to our listeners?
Let's say there's much more happening. And our role is not only to attract FDI, but also to nurture it.
Okay.
And provide the the needed cushioning, assistance, again, on a national level. What is Anthony saying? What is Anthony saying is that we assist in having, for example, the education element, the HR element, in trying to bring actors which are not yet here. So it's not only bringing the actual company of the listener who's listening, tuning in with us today, but offering support, which sometimes it's apart from government, right?
Yeah.
We were actually realizing that education and upskilling or reskilling of people from different industries towards blockchain needed to be done. And alongside the strong work being done by Parliamentary Secretary Silvio Scambri, we try and assist as well on that element.
Right.
So, yes, I think we've been seeing a lot of exciting, interesting developments in the space, and amongst others, obviously, your program is dedicated to blockchain, but the economy at large is
it's much bigger than that.
It's at a great moment in time as well.
Yeah.
So even if you're into blockchain and that's your main baby, however, you can come to Malta and see that the entrepreneurial push that is being witnessed all around you will reinvigorate you towards achieving more, because the environment is of a go-get business. Let's achieve new levels. Let's put our minds to the future and see what's happening in the future. And that's being witnessed throughout our ecosystem, be it aviation, be it education, be it the high added value manufacturing, life sciences. It is all around you.
Yeah, wonderful. So thanks so much for coming in today. It's been great learning more about Malta Enterprise. I think the most important part now is how our listeners can get in touch. So what would be the best steps?
I would say it's easy to get in touch with us through our LinkedIn page, through my personal LinkedIn page. We're easily accessible via
So you're
email,
actually
phone.
asking my listeners right now to spam your LinkedIn?
Yes, why not?
Okay.
Spam is your choice of words, not mine.
No, I want people to troll you now on LinkedIn.
No, but it's good. I mean, trying to be accessible as much as possible.
Great.
Also venturing into Telegram now.
Oi, are you active there?
Trying to understand how it works first. But I'll soon be there. Quite experienced.
I'm so overwhelmed with my Telegram and WhatsApp that some days I don't even have time to check it anymore, and I feel so bad because
but if
people
it's
be
not
waiting
that
for
day, it can be the next day, early the next day.
It's
I mean,
true.
let's be honest with ourselves.
It's true.
Everybody knows that there are time differences and that people have need to sleep sometimes as well. And
Sleep?
weekends.
Sleep? This
And
is
being-
blockchain. We don't sleep in blockchain.
No, we do as well. We have a mix of enjoying a good life as well. Otherwise, we wouldn't be promoting
It's true.
Malta in the
It's
right,
true.
in the right
It's
way.
true.
Right?
We are avid wine drinkers and sunshine adorers. Okay, cool. So your personal LinkedIn profile,
Our website, MaltaEnterprise.com.
show notes, which I'm going to include here. Thanks again for helping me get through the first session. So
It's been very easy.
yeah, thank you though. And thanks to all the lovely listeners. Please remember to rate and share our show so more people get to learn about us. We'll have lots more coming up in the next couple of weeks. See you next week.